Hello and happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Mystical Awakenings. We're very happy to be here this week. We've run replays the last 2 weeks because we had, Michigan UFO contact, and last week was not a good week for us. I'm not going to go into that on the air, but we're here this week and happy to be here and very excited about the amazing guests that we have. We made a new friend. I think an old friend. Met him again at Michigan UFO Con. And
we're glad to have him on. Rupert is a spiritual leader and alien contact specialist. He has the first-class honors degree in physics with space science and technology from the University of Leicester, England. I said that right. Okay. Rupert has spent his entire life researching paranormal phenomena. Now he organizes alien contact events and teaches a wide range of spiritual and paranormal courses on everything from spiritual healing to alien morality. We are all thrilled that Rupert will be joining the Galactic family at KGRA Digital Broadcasting.
Woo-hoo!
Welcome, Rupert.
Well,
hello, Deb and RJ. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And, we are super excited. We were thrilled, beyond thrilled, to have you join us at Michigan UFO Contact in Houghton Lake, Michigan. You came a long ways for that. So, we were thrilled.
Yes.
And it was a lovely, lovely event, very warm and welcoming, and very informative. There were some amazing guests there, so thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Well, I think I mentioned on Andrea's show last week that when I met you, it was like meeting an old friend, like you were coming home. And it still feels that way. So when I learned that you were also going to be joining the KGRA family, how perfect is that?
Absolutely. I've said before, but I think when people are spiritually similar and you are in the presence of somebody who is spiritually similar, then you can feel that similarity and it feels like you're comfortable, like you know them. And a lot of people at these conventions like the one in Houghton Lake, a lot of people will come up to me and say, when I look into your eyes, I feel like I know you. And I think that's why it is. There is a spiritual knowingness, a familiarity. And I felt that with you two. I felt that immediately with Andrea and a few of my closest friends.
Well, I'm honored. I'm honored.
Like we're all vibrating on the same frequency, and
yeah,
that's why we connect so well. So, and everybody that was at the conference was on that same kind of a frequency. So,
yeah,
it makes it really nice. I mean, most people were, yeah,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I definitely want to get into what your show will be about, but I would like to begin with what got you so interested. I mean, I read that you have been researching the phenomenon for all of your life. Why? What got you interested?
Yeah, well, when I go back and I look and I try and connect the dots, I think what happened was it started off with me being very empathic. I've always cared deeply about others. It would distress me. It would make me cry when I was a little child and my father would go fishing and I would see any suffering at all to anybody or any animal. I couldn't watch the news because that was too upsetting. And that empathy led me to want to solve the world's problems. And to solve the world's problems, you have to, first of all, understand the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so understanding the world is what I set out to do. I started to learn science, and because that's a lot of stuff that's already been worked out about the world and the universe. But there's a lot outside of science that I was glimpsing. Is this true? Is this not true? Are aliens real? Is God real? Is reincarnation real? Which of these phenomena are real? Because if some of these things are real, then it could well impact how we deal with some of the problems on this planet. And so I set out to learn everything. And learning science was relatively easy because people have already worked that out. And you can ask
Right.
a question and they can say, well, here's the answer to that question, and I can prove it. So it was not quite as easy with the paranormal, but you can still use the same logic that is the foundation of science to explore paranormal phenomena. And
Right.
I did, and I learned a lot. And decades later, I'm now telling people what I've figured out.
I love it. And that all makes perfect sense to me. I think many of us kind of have that same yearning, growing up being super empathic. Um, I'm the same way with television, period. I can't, the news, the anything to do with television, unless it's a certain specific, easy for me to say, program, and I know that's what I'm gearing up for. I just can't.
Yeah.
So I get that. That makes perfect sense to me.
May I ask what got you two into this field?
Oh boy.
Well, for me,
Sorry,
it
you've
goes all
already
back to
discussed
childhood.
this on your show before.
Yeah, it goes back to childhood where I was a very sensitive child, and I saw things in my room, and many nights I slept with my parents, and they were convinced that there was things in my room, little shadow figures, and as I grew up, I was blessed to have a family, especially two older brothers and a mother who was very spiritual and open to this stuff, and my dad was, but not so much. But I remember when he walked by, I was watching Star Trek in '65. You really like that stuff, don't you? I said, yeah, I really do. And little did he know, he passed away early, that it would still continue. Anyway, yeah. So always been interested in it. I had a very unique experience when I was 19 years old, which I'll be talking about this weekend. While I was backpacking, and that changed my life forever. And it's been, I think I came here to do this. So I'm very sensitive, very empathic too. So to things, and I met her finally again, and that really set everything off. When I was 61 years old when we got back together again, but life has been just it's taken off amazingly in my elder years. Yes.
Yeah. And we want to be careful. I mean, our story alone could take the whole show, and we don't want to do that. But I was born into mediumship. My mother was a medium, but back then a closet medium. It was something you didn't talk about. I grew up in a very religious family, so it was very taboo. But I always had that paranormal side. I could connect with the other side. I could see, when I was little, people on the other side of the veil looked the same to me as the people on this side. So I couldn't even really tell the difference. So I would repeat what they were saying. And my father wanted to put me in a home for the mentally impaired. But long story short, I grew up with that and seeing, some paranormal. When I got involved with paranormal, it was just, I always did readings for people, and then people would ask me to do cleansing, for their house, and wanted to know what's going on here, who's here, why, what do they want? So that got me into the paranormal end of it about 42 years ago. The ufology wasn't really a thing for me other than the paranormal side. I would kind of push it aside. I had an inner kind of fear until 2016. It was right after I met him, and I had a huge experience with missing time.
I was so glad we could finally talk about it.
Right. Well, being twin souls, it all had to wait until we got together. So that's what, my experience. And then I became obsessed with needing to know every aspect of what the phenomenon was. So here
Well,
we all are.
you know, Robert, it changes your life forever once you have an experience.
Yeah. And what I learned, Rupert, was that I've been having experiences all my life. And I didn't know it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you kind of,
Experiences with aliens.
yes.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes. Right. So, anyways,
Yeah, thank
back
you
to
for
You had to ask, didn't you?
explaining that. Because even at the conference in Houghton Lake, we didn't really have time to just sit down and talk like this.
No, we didn't. It was so busy, so busy. It was a great time with everybody. Like you said, the lectures were amazing. I was very happy that Andrea had you up on the stage for a bit. That was a beautiful, beautiful time. And
Yeah, and I want to thank you for suggesting that everybody get in the circle.
yes,
That was a great idea. It really adds an extra ingredient
Yes.
to what was going on out there.
right.
And I'll tell you why I did that, why I do that at my events. The beings that we're connecting with, they're telepathic and they're empathic. Can you imagine what it's like to exist in a community where you feel each other's feelings, where
Yeah.
you think each other's thoughts?
Mhm.
The pain of one of you is the pain of everybody. The happiness of one of you is the happiness of everybody. It really makes morality a whole lot different, a whole lot easier. We have to spend a lot of our sort of moral thought processes trying to figure out who needs our help, who's upset, who's happy, what's going on, how do I distribute my attention, and we are, compared to them, very separate and alone. And when they look down upon that, like a group of people who don't know each other, all scattered around on the surface of the earth, with disparate, incoherent thoughts and intentions and motivations,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound very appealing. It doesn't feel very attractive to them. So what I deliberately do in my events is I do connect people together.
Yeah.
We reach out our spirits. Usually at my events, I try and learn everybody's names, but this was a rather a big event, so there was no chance of that. But when we connect with each other and we consciously set aside our any form of negative discrimination, regardless of age, gender, appearance, ability, etc., we connect together in love as one community. That is a far more attractive group for them to come and enter into.
Right.
Absolutely.
More of a collective consciousness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
people love it because
Absolutely.
breaking down some of those barriers and actually being able to make friends so easily and connect with people is one of the things that we need psychologically, but it's very hard in our society.
Right. Yeah, we're born with that, the need for love, the need for touch.
Yes.
As we grow, like you said, in these times, it's hard to do that. So, we do C5 work and gather, but we haven't asked people to hold hands. And that's something that we've learned that's coming up this weekend.
We meditate. We
Sure.
do the meditation. But,
Right. And to meditate, if you're going to, the whole purpose for us anyways is to connect the collective consciousness. We're all one with everything.
Yeah.
And if you're going to connect that in a loving way, why not connect that physically as well?
I think
You've taught us.
Part of our evolution is we, like you said, we're going to be going towards more of a telepathy, if you want to say. We will know how people are feeling.
Yeah.
More sensitive and intuitive to it than we are now, because like you said, they must think that our way of communicating, but they probably did at one time.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. I mean, it's unique, yes, because everybody has their own ways of expressing things, and they have their own tone and uh, their own meanings to things, and but really to evolve to a community that's uh, more uh, spiritual and on the same plane, I think that has to happen. So we
Absolutely.
evolve, yeah.
And when we do CE5, this is one thing I think a lot of people haven't picked up on in whether you call it CE5 or cosmic contact or alien,
Right.
whatever you call it. Many of the beings that are out there have evolved past that stage of connecting together millennia ago or longer. And so when we do CE5, if we are not just open to seeing and perceiving and bringing down individuals, but if we're open to connecting with collectives, and that looks and feels different, and sometimes people are not looking for that, so they don't recognize it, or they don't target it, if you can use that word.
Mm-hmm.
But when you recognize that there are collectives out there, that opens up a whole new sort of kettle of fish, as I would say in England, because you can actually go looking for these collective consciousnesses.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
I tell you, Rupert, it works, because we were doing an investigation one night south of here with our team, and of course I'm always looking at the skies. We were outdoors by a river. There had been some drownings there and a big thing, and people had seen spirit around there. And
we were actually doing a paranormal investigation for spirit.
So I'm walking. We had 10 of us. I'm walking last. I'm looking up and said, "I know you're there. Just show me. I know you're there." And I was just trying to communicate telepathically. And I was looking what I thought was a star, and this thing just opened up and shined us all and just lit us all up, the whole ground, and then back to a little tiny thing and gone. So I know they're there. I know they can hear you.
Right. Yeah.
It was amazing. It was just amazing. I was like so thankful.
Well, RJ was adamant that the team get to, because we're the UFO end of the paranormal team. We're on a team, but we were the ones that were doing this type of work and more interested. And we wanted the rest of the team to get on board with all of it. And they were kind of getting there, but they hadn't really seen anything. So that's what that was all about. Now they're 100% on board. So,
fantastic.
Yeah. So while we're, not totally past talking about the UFO contact, I would like you to tell a little bit about what was seen that night, Saturday night. And then we can have Bill maybe show the clip of what you saw, what we all saw.
Yeah. Well, different people saw different things. And I think Andrea, as soon as she starts talking or singing, they're all around and she sees them. So some people, have these perceptions where they're seeing things everywhere. And she said that she was seeing more than she usually does, which is a good sign. But what I managed to catch on video on actually the Friday night, the first time she went out there, okay. I haven't even looked at the Saturday night video yet.
Okay. But it was all the same for me. I'm sorry. I was so busy that it all ran together.
Yeah. Soon after Andrea started talking, I had my night vision camera out, which can see things much more clearly at nighttime. And I noticed something flying from left to right over the lake. And so in a field of stars, there is this dimmer object moving like this across the lake. And I'm skeptical. I'm a scientist. I'm looking at things thinking, are there any terrestrial explanations? And maybe it's a bird flying across like that. But then suddenly, it shoots downwards, vertically downwards. Now, yes, birds sometimes fly downwards into a lake, but at nighttime, I'm not so sure. And it was like a right angle.
Right.
And while I can't conclusively say that was an alien phenomena, I have moved it out of the category of being a UFO and identified to being a PAP, a probable alien phenomenon.
Mhm.
And somebody else saw the same phenomenon, but coming in from a different direction. You know, there was obviously more than one of those out there, and it fits in with people's stories that I've heard about there being orbs or spiritual or glowing entities of some type coming up and down out of that lake. So that's one of the clips I caught. Another clip, one of the ladies next to me, I can't remember her name, but she was holding the camera looking at a row of stars, and as she's talking about these stars, something appears luminous, something appears close to the left-hand star, moves along a little bit and fades out. Now that's not a slow shooting star, a slow meteorite.
Right.
It's not a plane, it's not flashing, it's not a satellite, because it comes in and goes straight back out, and then a few seconds later another one comes in on the right. And so that was very impressive. And I think what they were saying is, yeah, we see you looking over here in our direction, and we're just going to say, yeah, this is us. Thank you for being here. The third clip, I don't know if Bill is going to show this also, but it shows some kind of heavy interference going on with my camera. And Andrea, you see her reaching up her hand like this into the sky, as though she's saying, hey, does anybody hear me? And interference. And it wasn't a visual light thing that was going on. It was more likely her power, her energy, or the energy of these beings
Right.
causing interference with the camera, but it's still impressive nonetheless.
Yes, or possibly the energy from her and them,
Yeah.
the connection.
Yeah.
Right. And there's, I have to say, this area is very, very active. But when we do this event every year, there are always sightings. I believe we had more this year. I really do. So
Good.
So next year we're bringing you back.
Well, I host so many of these events, and they're my friends now. And when I stand up and start talking at a CE5 event or a Cosmic Contact event, the beings are already with me. They know what's going on, and they're there. So it doesn't surprise me.
Right. Yeah. Didn't surprise me terribly either. So, Bill, if you are here listening and can show the clip, that would be wonderful.
Venus has been acting up huge. The verdict, the jury is out on Venus. But not for me.
What about my 3 right there? See? There's actually 4 right in a row there. Yeah, I see it right over the horizon.
Venus has been acting up huge. And the verdict, the jury is out on Venus. What about my 3 right there? See? There's actually 4 right in a row there. Yeah.
Very nice.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And people can find that on your YouTube, right?
Yes. I have a I have a group called Galactic Wisdom, and that group is on Facebook. It's a Facebook group, and it is also a YouTube channel. I think the YouTube channel you have to look up Galactic Wisdom now, but there's links to it also in my Facebook group. Yeah.
So everybody can check that out again. I mean, all of it is impressive, but I agree with you. Seeing Andrea stand there and what happens is amazing, because I don't think anybody saw any heat lightning that weekend.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
So what was that?
Yeah.
So very good, very good. So I'd like to move along if we're through with UFO contact for right now.
Well, yeah, for now, because
For
it's
now.
also all your thing
It
for
always
us.
comes up. But I would like for you to take a few moments, Rupert, and tell people about your show coming up. Bill says within the next few weeks or so.
Yeah. So sometime in the next few weeks, on a Thursday evening, preceding your show, I will have my own show here, and it will be called Galactic Wisdom. And it will have guests on, like I hope you guys will come and be a guest on my show, and we'll find out more about each other and the phenomena that we've all experienced. I will have some shows where it's just me talking. There's a lot that I would like to share with people that is not experiences I've had, but knowledge that I've gained. Almost lecture style, I would like to explain to people the nature of time, extra dimensional space,
Right.
what exactly is going on when your biological body passes away and you find yourself in a tunnel. What was that tunnel about? I can explain some of these things, or at least put forward very good models or theories. I would like to explain a lot of this stuff. I would also like to be a voice for the beings we're connecting with, because they do have messages for us.
Right.
And it's a shame that those messages, even though they're said very clearly to many people who they meet with directly, those messages are not getting out into the world. And so I want to explain what those messages really are and back them up with a lot of science and proper understanding. I also want to lead in my show, Galactic Wisdom. I will be leading meditations. I will be teaching people how to meditate in many different ways. And I'm sure many people out there already know, but you can join me in meditations. Some of the meditations will be where we connect, all the viewers connect with each other at that time, spiritually, in love. We become a collective for a few minutes. I call it universal love meditations. There will be world peace manifestations. I will teach people how to manifest. There will be healing, spiritual healing events and things like that. So there will be a wide range of different things that I will do on the show. And hopefully they all fit within the category of the categories of enlightenment, wisdom, and ascension.
Sounds very exciting. I can't wait. I was going to ask you, do you have any idea who you're in contact with? Have they told you where they're from, who they are? Do they do that?
There's a number of beings that me and my group of my sort of inner circle of friends are in contact with. Perhaps the most significant being is Tuk Tuk. Now, Tuk Tuk is an extraterrestrial. We call her a she. She doesn't really have a gender, but she doesn't come physically or biologically to this planet. We connected with her when we astrally projected one time. We go to her about once a week. She comes to us once a week, and she's a healing being. She's an extraordinary being that is just very compassionate and caring, and I introduced her to Andrea and Greta at Houghton Lake, and took help get them back on their feet and
Yeah.
back out on the Saturday.
Right.
And
Yes, thank you for that.
you're welcome. Andrea was still in recovery from an illness. We are in touch with 3 and now maybe 4 Arcturians, Rimioid, Sashki, Helmiad, and what's the other one called? I'm not sure what the other one is called. I can't recall, but there's a 4th younger male Arcturian that we're in touch with. They're very interested in climate, in environmental issues, because that's one of the big problems we're facing as a planet.
Yeah.
We have, we've made friends with beings out there that sometimes have bad names. We reached out in peace, in friendship to reptilians, because I didn't have any facts about them and I wanted to learn. And so we had an event in Las Vegas where we know that there are reptilians because some of my members have seen them.
Yeah.
We reached out to them in peace and we invited them to come along and put forward their side of the story and who are they. And there was one lady who came along that I'm not sure if she was human. We didn't get proof about that, but she was a definite candidate for being a reptilian in disguise. But after that event, we started to get reptilians coming to our events, extra dimensionally, just sort of standing and watching. And when one of them approached me and touched my forehead, I reached out to it and I said, hey, listen, we understand you're reptilian, and I would like you to know that recently we reached out in peace and in friendship to reptilians, and the reptilian responded by saying, yes, we know. That's why we're here, in friendship, to protect you.
Right.
I have
And
goosebumps.
yeah, and only maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had a reptilian show up to one of our events after a convention, not your convention, another convention. And one of the energy healers from that event had come to that event so an energy healer from the convention had come to the CE5 event, and a reptilian had appeared before her, knew that she was feeling energetically drained and quite ill from all the healing she had done that day, and the reptilian healed her during that event. So yeah, and those are just a few. I could keep talking for another 20 minutes probably.
Yeah, we were doing a cosmic contact, if you will, one time at our old place, the old store there, and I was in deep meditation, and these 2 beings came in, very large, very big bald heads, and wearing gold shirts, and very open. And I was so happy, and I turned around and I thought I was hugging one, and my head was in his chest, and I looked up. It was a big reptilian, and but it startled me, so I came out of my he came out of my meditation. But I just found it. I wish I would have stayed a little longer, because I don't think there was. It was fine, but I was just so startled because I thought it might have been one of them. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, it was cool.
Right. Yeah, they get a terrible rap. But, if you think about other beings from other places looking at us, I wonder sometimes, do they see humans kind of like we see reptilians, as they're all bad, when in fact we're not? There are many of us who are very loving and open and kind and just want to help.
Yes.
And I think we have that in all of the other races.
Yes. And I think most of the beings, if not all of the beings that we communicate with on this planet, in this region of space, I think they get that. I think they get that there are some amazing, wonderful human beings. And when I say they, I mean there's many different species of them, so I am overgeneralizing. But a lot of them will want to be friends with people who are light enough, who are loving enough, whom they don't see as being the problem. The sad part is that humanity as a whole is very destructive, and as a whole we are causing a lot of problems, and we are seen as probably the most violent and destructive and aggressive and unfriendly species in this region of space. So
Yeah, and they've actually came here and told us that we got to straighten our act up and quit doing that. So and playing with some bad toys. So
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And if I could just mention, Andrea has just had a new documentary put out there. Did you get a chance to see it? It's called "We Are Not Alone."
I
We
have
were
it
so
up on
busy
Prime.
with
I
this,
haven't.
the event. But yeah, we're going to catch up on that.
Well, I would like to just recommend that to people because, I've seen hundreds of documentaries about this subject, and sure, I can look at it and say, well, maybe there's one or two things that I don't quite agree with, but overall, it is the best overview of the whole situation. And towards the end of it, it really does address, why are these beings here? What is the message they're trying to give to us? And they put that across so well that, and it's quite emotional. It's quite touching when you really understand what it is they're trying to tell us. So yeah, if people really want to have a good overview of the whole subject of aliens, UFOs, cosmic contact, I do recommend watching that new documentary.
Yeah, we're definitely going to. We'll probably watch it together. And,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's called We're Not Alone. It can be found on Amazon Prime. If anybody can't find it, contact one of us, Rupert, one of us, Andrea herself. We'll send you the link. I think it's $2.99 or $3.99 to rent it or something. I mean, it's so inexpensive.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I want to see it. I just have not had the time. We have not had the time yet. We're still getting caught up.
Yeah.
But
we lead busy lives.
Yeah, we are so looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And hearing you say that, Rupert, makes me look forward to it even more. Now, I might stay up late tonight
Yeah,
to see this.
It's good. It's quite long, but it's good. It's very good.
Okay. Do you know, is that the only place it's available right now is Amazon Prime?
I don't know for a fact. I'm guessing it's all over the place. It's probably on iTunes and many other streaming services.
Right.
I'm sure it would be, but I watched it on Amazon.
Okay. Yeah, I have Amazon Prime, so that's where I found it as well. Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you have coming up? Are you got some things on the burner there?
Well, I host quite frequent events online, and in my Galactic Wisdom group, I'm going to be introducing more and more events in there. I like to have Zoom sessions where we connect, where we do meditations of all different types and healing and manifestation, and I lecture and things. So I'm always busy doing these smaller Zoom sessions all the time. I've just released a book, and so I'm going to do a little bit of promoting probably in one or two places for that.
Right.
And it is a novel, a sci-fi novel, so I know it's not going to be accessible to everybody. And it's not a light, casual, quick and easy read. It's philosophical, and it's in a bit sort of dense in places. But if anybody's interested in learning about some of these, what happens when we die, what is the spirit, how does it form, what is it made out of, the nature of time and time travel. Time is a big thing, we're not just involved in geographic struggles between good people and bad people and good forces and dark forces. We're involved in a trans-temporal struggle, and understanding how time works with messages and traveling backwards and forwards is quite important.
Yeah.
And tomorrow night, I'm going to be with Andrea in Soul School Sojourn. Is that what she calls it?
Yes.
And I think we're going to. She would like to talk about my book a little bit there, so I'll be talking about it there.
Nice.
And I may even lead a little meditation on her show tomorrow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And that is, anybody can find it on KGRA, Buttercup Brigade, YouTube. And that's on, I believe, at 9 o'clock, 9 until 10. And then A World Awakening is 10 till 11. Is that right?
I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, you're speaking of time, you're in a
I'm
different
3 hours
time
out.
zone. So, for you, the times are totally different, but we can absolutely share it. I know I'm looking forward to reading your book. So
Your book is on the way. It's in the post.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. So can people order that yet?
Yes, that's available on Amazon. And if you type in, is it okay if I hold it up on the screen?
Absolutely. Please do.
Realities.
Yeah, there's a lot of glare there, but it's called Realities. And if you type into Amazon, Realities, Rupert, book, it'll come up. Realities,
Nice.
Rupert, book. And this cover, this beautiful cover, is painted by
gorgeous
Laura Zoller, who is one of my close friends, and she is psychic. She has amazing connections with beings. She has had firsthand experiences with reptilians, and she's going to be one of the first guests on my show. So I look forward to introducing everybody to her.
Oh, beautiful.
Wonderful. We will certainly be tuning in for sure. Let me ask you, Rupert, in your experience, do you feel that most experiencers are either psychic or have some sort of abilities like that?
That's a good question. If you recall through your life, or if you've had encounters throughout your life with these beings, then I would say there's a very high probability that you have some level of extrasensory perception. Yes. If you enter into this realm, this field without those experiences, and you start doing conscious cosmic contact, or CE5, then you're less likely to have these perceptions already. But if you reach out to these beings, and if you practice astral projection and remote viewing, your abilities can increase. If you want to have your abilities increase quickly, go to one of Andrea's in-person events, because she has a way of opening people's third eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the way I see it.
Okay.
So do you think time, is a question, like if you were, let's say you're in the fifth dimension, time's different than in the third. Like if you're sitting down and talking, you and I are talking, and we really connect, and we're into this high vibrational state. 6 hours went by, and it feels like we've only been talking for about a half hour,
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Time, I would say time is a thing. We know time's a thing, because if I had been late to this meeting, you would not have been happy, and we have to coordinate with time. So time is a thing.
It's a reference.
But it's more complicated than just being linear and constant. We know through relativistic equations, which I worked through when I was at Leicester University, things called 4 metric tensors and things like that. We know that when you travel at speeds that are approaching the speed of light, time does act differently. There's something called time dilation. Time slows down, and then people's perception of time is relativistic. And when you are approaching, the different gravitational fields, strong gravitational fields, time flows differently. If you want an example of that, go out and watch the sci-fi movie Interstellar. That deals with that subject well.
Yeah.
Now, when we astrally project, we're leaving behind our physical masses. That means that the E equals mc squared in Einstein's equations, the m no longer holds us down. That m is mass. We don't have that mass. The speed of light becomes no longer a barrier for us, and we can travel beyond the speed of light, and we can also travel through time. And so and I'm not sure it's specifically, which dimension are you in. It's just having the ability to travel at speed or in other places. And it may well be that time flows at different rates in different regions of the universe, in different regions of extra dimensional space. But I haven't been there enough to know yet.
Yeah, I think what's even faster than the speed of light is the speed of thought. And if you are so evolved, whatever you think of happens and you manifest it instantly, you can think yourself there, or here or there or somewhere else. So
that's true.
I think some beings can do that. I do.
Yes.
I think we can do that.
Yeah, well, we can.
I think that's kind of astral traveling.
Yeah, and of course you can go to the CIA website and download their instruction manual for remote viewing.
Yes.
And I did that, and it's very interesting. You can teach yourself how to. They don't call it astral projection, but essentially you're taking a bit of your mind to your consciousness to somewhere else. But yeah, I teach workshops in astral projection. This last weekend, I took about 90 people in a Zoom meeting to a blind target. They didn't know where it was. And when I showed them the picture, a photograph of where they'd been to, and many of them had seen very accurately what was there. It was a volcano, an erupting volcano in Indonesia, and they were seeing these lines of the erupting lava, and they saw the band of trees that they had drawn, and the lake in front of them, and so forth. They were astonished because that's real, and we can prove it. We can prove it just like that. Yeah, we have that ability.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we had some online classes a couple of years ago, and we dabbled into the remote viewing, and we were really impressed how what they came up with. It was amazing. I mean, and they were amazed too.
It was very similar to what you're doing,
Yeah.
Rupert. We would identify a place and put it in a sealed envelope,
Mm-hmm.
and then connect with everybody as they would remote view or astral travel. And they were mind blown at how accurate so many of them were at seeing these places.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. Yeah.
It's very real. Very real.
Yeah, that, for people who want proof of things, which is great. I think seeking proof is completely valid. There are proofs to a lot of the things that we're doing, and science may not yet accept them, but that doesn't mean that you can't prove them still using logic.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
I always say where there's a possibility, there's a probability.
Right. And yeah, science isn't saying, that the soul can have the mind and travel places, but when they can do it and they get the responses that they get, who needs science to say, yes, that's real?
That's true. You don't.
Yeah.
But I've seen in the last 5, 6 years, or even maybe 10 years, that this is coming closer together. Science and the metaphysical science, and it's getting there. It's got a ways to go, but it's definitely.
We're still infants.
Yeah, a lot of people are opening their eyes and expanding their horizons. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And, good scientists know that there's a lot in the universe that we don't yet understand.
Right.
There's a huge amount, and any astrophysicist should be able to tell you. We know there's something that we call dark matter, and we don't know what it is. There's something called dark energy, and we don't know what it is. And so good scientists understand that science is expanding outwards into into reality, and we're learning more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And our alien friends are very good scientists.
Yes, they are.
They're not in a fantasy world. What they're doing, their technology, their craft, their abilities, it's all just an advanced science that they understand.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. The human body is designed to seeing, hearing, smelling, feeling, tasting is so limited. So limited.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton out there. I mean, it's just endless of what we don't see, hear, feel, taste. It's mind-blowing. But with all of the experiencers and people like you and Andrea and us and many others who are speaking outwardly about what the truth is, people are starting to realize, okay, this is reality.
Yeah.
This isn't made up sci-fi movies. This is reality. We don't see it in the same way that we see, the third dimension, but it's there.
Absolutely.
Thank you and bless you for being that voice.
And you, I mean, that's what you do. And when you put together a convention like the one you put together in Houghton Lake, you are spreading such vast amounts of knowledge and wisdom, understanding. So yeah, well done, you two.
And love, I hope.
Absolutely. That was very clear. That was very evident. Yes.
Yeah, because without that, the rest of it isn't going to fall into place.
Yes.
With the love, the compassion, the oneness, it will.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely true.
I know we're getting
really close.
Down on time. Yeah, I think we have like 1 minute.
5 minutes.
No, that was
a
few minutes ago. Yeah. Okay, so we're down to 1 minute, Rupert. You will be on tomorrow night with Andrea and Soul School, and then your show right here on KGRA within a few weeks. So thank you for being with us. I wish we had more time. Bless you.
Thank you too. It's a pleasure being here.
Yep.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll keep in touch.
Absolutely. Everybody have a wonderful week. And until we meet again, may all of your awakenings be mystical.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. We love you.